about the early primate fossils. We start off with the plesiodaphiforms. These are around 66 to 56 million years ago. They are kind of the beginning of the primate family tree. They don't look like primates. They don't have any eye protection. They pretty much look like a rodent, but they do, in some of the examples we found, have nails. And since nails is a diagnostic feature for primates, we consider them basically the branch that went off of the rodents and would eventually become the primates. Next, we have two groups, the Adapids and the Amomaids, around 50 to 30 million years ago. The Adapids really resemble things like lemurs, and so we count them as the strepsirrhine ancestors. The Amomaids resemble the tarsier, so some people say that this could be a very early haplorhine, but again, since the tarsier isn't fully haplorhine, it does share features of both groups. This is a little bit debated. Moving on, we have the pair of Pitheциds around 36 million years ago. These are basically very old platyrrhines, and we know this because they have a 2-1-3-3 dental formula. The Propleopithecids around 32 to 29 million years ago are the ancestral catarrhines with a 2-1-2-3 dental formula. This is where we start to actually get into some of the specimens that you will be looking at. One example here is Egyptopithecus around 30 million years ago. It's a very small primate. Doesn't really look like an ape, however, he has Y5 molars. That is an ape feature, so we give him the nickname the dental ape. Over here we have our actual apes, our ancient hominoids, starting with proconsul around 22 million years ago, and it's basically our first true ape in the way that it looks, body size, and also its dentition. We have Dryopithecus, which is around 12 to 8 million years ago, found in Europe. And then we have two Asian specimens, Cebopithecus, which is around 12 to 8 million years ago, found in Asia, and it is the direct ancestor of orangutans. And then Gigantopithecus, which lived well up to the time of humans, around 300,000 years ago. I've actually heard even more recently than that. And it is the largest primate ever to have lived. It has very specific adaptations for tough chewing, which we're going to look at in a second. So come over here and let's look at the four specimens that we have. Here you can see Egyptopithecus. He's very small. He does not look like an ape, but when you look in his mouth and you see the Y5 molars, this is why we call him the dental ape. Here is what proconsul looks like, so getting slightly larger, very ape-like dentition, and so this would be considered our first true ape. Here is Cebopithecus, and Cebopithecus really looks just like a modern orangutan. You'll be looking at that in lab if you take the lab class. And finally, we have our giant guy here, Gigantopithecus, largest primate ever to live, probably around 10 feet tall when he stood up. I'm going to go over a couple of his features that show us his diet. First of all, we have this very large sagittal crest for extra chewing muscle. This is going to wrap down to this extremely large mandible. It's very thick, it's very deep, and look at those crushing and grinding molars. This shows that he was really eating a poor quality diet, a fibrous diet that didn't give him a lot of nutrition. So being so large, he had to basically chew all day long.